there. Good morning. Hi there. Welcome to 30 minutes of my day. We're back to looking at this view. I had a few questions about my setup and how it works for me, and a few what was that, and so I'm going to try my best to answer the questions that were posed to me. So one of the questions was, and it was a really good one. Let's go over here. Sorry, this is handheld. Someone wanted to know about all these big books that are on their sides on the floor here. And they are really big books. And these are a lot of my art books and map books and like old masterpiece books. This is a fantastic book on Victorian cakes. Victorian Book of Cakes, and it's just it's wonderful. It's full of illustrations of Victorian cakes. And I found that in a Goodwill in Fort Lauderdale for $2, and carried it on the cruise ship and carried it off the cruise ship again. Toulouse-Lautrec, a lot of books on the Louvre, because you'll get, pardon my pronunciation, Louvre. You'll get a lot of old masters if you can find books on the Louvre. And this one's a book on Beethoven. It's got a lot of really cool old writing in it. And history of photography, that one's fantastic. This one I lucked into. It's a book called Imagining Anne. And it's actually two books in one. Lucy Maud Montgomery kept a scrapbook. And it's literally photos of the pages out of Lucy Maud Montgomery's scrapbook. And of course, interesting stories to tell about her life. Although her life was very interesting, it was also, in spite of her writing being so delightful, and all of us falling in love with her heroines, Anne and Sarah and all of them, she and her husband dealt with depression most of their lives. And not to perpetuate a rumor, but in those days there really wasn't a way to confirm such things. But according to her son, he was of the opinion that, she probably died before she needed to. Is that a nice way to put it? Anyhow, you know what I mean. Here I just have this big old book, and I save book covers. First of all, because they're not recyclable. They have to, in my area where I live, they've got to be burned. And I don't have the facilities to burn them, but I save them, and they eventually get used for various things. So that's what this is. This is a cool book with lots of old maps and lots of old botanical illustrations and the art of history of Christianity. Well, there's oodles of cool artwork in there. The beautiful garden of Eichstatt. I hope that's correct. Flowers of the World. That one's full of beautiful, huge drawings of colorful flowers. So do you see what I mean? First of all, they're heavy because they're so big. But I find by keeping these ones on their side, it's easier for me to find the one that I know I'm looking for. So that's why this it's not a stack of books, but in a way it's a horizontal stack of books, is at the bottom of my bookshelf. It's handy there, it's out of the way. I don't walk back there very often, so I don't stub my toes very often on it. But yeah, sometimes. Some of you wanted to see some of the books that I've got that I am looking forward to making. They're difficult. For me, they're difficult because they're so big. I am attracted to big books. The problem with big books is they're expensive to make, they're expensive to ship, and therefore the listing price has to be high, and that makes them very out of range for a lot of people for the work that has to go into them. Look at that cover. Isn't that cool? So someday I will do that on William Morris. I like that one. I love this one. I found this one at a thrift store. Webster's School and Office Dictionary. Found this in a thrift store in Coburg, Ontario. How cool is that? Again though, look at that. That's probably 3 inches thick. But I love it, and it's beautiful, and I really do want to make a journal out of it. Again, I'm looking cost-wise. Is it worth it for me to keep these massive books? This one I also love. The Mask Torn Off. I paid quite a bit for this one, but it reminds me of Wenzel. It's got the beveled edges, and the cover is just, I don't know, it's beautiful. The spine is beautiful. And again though, it's huge. It's old. This one's really old. Let's see if we can find. $18.83. So there's that. Up here are some more pretty ones. This one's really pretty, Don Quixote. It's a red one, so someday when I'm in a red mood. I had a lot of poppy books, and I only kept a few. So I kept a red one. And this one's pretty too. And then this one's Calling My Name Out, and it's a little smaller, so that might be a little more reasonable. That might be next. And of course, Dombey and Sons by Dickens, Charles Dickens. Anytime it's Dickens, I can't say no. Can't say no to Dickens. There's a book down here. This is all my music books, sheet music and books of music and textbooks of music. And this one, someday I want to make into a journal. I think that would be a very pretty journal. Isn't that pretty? And it's quite old too, but I don't want to have to try to one-handedly open it. I'll put it that way for now. And I've got a few that are pretty. This Methodist hymn book and tune book, that's really pretty too. Here's where I keep, as I said, all of my Edith Holden's. There's a few, I have a lot of Edith already cut open here, and then a full Edith, and the Edwardian Lady, 2 Edwardian ladies here. I have more, the Country Diary of an Edwardian Lady. I went through this stage where they kept jumping out at me at stores. And if I find it, I buy it. I even gave one away once to celebrate the number of subscribers. I gave away a full Country Diary of an Edwardian Lady. That's how many I have. I keep them in the other room. They're on my nightstand, and they look pretty, and they they make me feel a little greedy, but just a little. This is that 1-year gardener's journal that I always am using, or pardon me, the 10-year gardener's journal. It also jumped out at me quite a few times. I have one downstairs. I have a kit, like a box downstairs of papers that need to be tea dyed. So I have one that's already been cut open. This one hasn't been cut open yet. And if you look down here, I found it again. And if I find it, I keep it. I get it. And if you ever see it, I think you can still buy it brand new through Lee Valley. But it's not cheap. But it's huge. And it's the one that's got all the blank pages for the 10-year. They're just fantastic. So again, that's a greedy, decadent thing that I have that should last for the rest of my career. Here's my old ones that I love pulling pages from. I love this Girls Own Annual. It's from 1888 to 1889. Sunday at Home is actually the same year, 1889. The Boys Own Papers, I don't use it as much. Surprisingly, I had 2 copies, and do you think I could find a home for it? I just wanted to give it away to someone who wanted it, and couldn't find a home for it and had to donate it. And then there's this one. I think that would make a beautiful journal. Hill's Album. Again, similar kinds of illustrations inside. Same with this one, the torch. This one tends to be the illustrations for little boys. These are all my atlases that I pull from. This one's very old, from the 1920s, and it's Dutch. I have another one that is just constellations, and I love it. Here are the only, Nancy, are you listening? These are the only text blocks that I saved out of that whole shelf of text blocks. They're the only ones I saved. Here's another one that right now I'm still just pulling from it and using pages out of it, but I think it will make a really great journal someday. A household guide. Isn't that just a beautiful spine? And the front, family recipes. I just love it. So I think one day that will make a beautiful journal, but not right now. Right now it's holding the papers as I use them. Up here I have some black books that I love. Even though some of them might look brown, it's just because the spines have faded, but if I pulled them off, you'd see that they're black. This is the Bible that goes with the book that I turned into Mrs. Cratchit's prayer book. It's from the 1880s, I believe. And here's the ones I love, miscellaneous works. I think that that's just a marvelous title for a journal. So I have those. Down here, I'm looking forward to, like I said, I swear I have enough. I've been blessed. Please know, I know that I have been blessed. I really do think I have enough to last. At the rate I'm going, how fast I can make a journal, I do think I have enough books that will last me 10 more years. And honestly, if I'm going to be blunt and honest with you, that gets me to 74. Like 74 years old. Anyhow, these are magnificent. I mean, I can't resist a Dickens book. And Sketches by Boz, like, what a fabulous title. Oliver Twist, The Old Curiosity Shop, volumes 1 and 2. This one I got a couple years ago, and I still haven't had the courage to cut it open. Isn't that beautiful, Lucille? It's just so pretty. I wish shipping wasn't so expensive, because I would consider selling some of these books, but the shipping is ridiculous. This one's pretty too. Hymns and Songs for Bands of Hope. Isn't that pretty? And it's not very big, so that one might be a fun one to do. This one's pretty. The Story of St. Paul's Parish in Toronto. I know where that church is. This is a good book, but I can't pull it out. History of Everyday Things in England. And it is chock full of really cool black and white illustrations, drawn illustrations. That will make a cool journal one day. And this one's pretty too. I came close to making this one recently. I think the cover is pretty. Biography by Margaret Sangster. So that one's pretty. I know there's books I'm missing. These are, like I said, magazines, unusual just paper things. There's McCall's from 1943. Wonderful papers that people have sent me. I love these women's journals from England from the 1940s. Old newspapers, old farming newspapers. Those are really neat. And then over here, these are all really old. My brown books are quite old. Those big ones, again, it just, they tug at my heart. I love doing them, but financially they're just, I don't know, not sure. I have to think about it. These ones are a more reasonable size, and they're old too. These ones are Robert Louis Stevenson and that, and they're in very nice condition and very pretty. Isn't that nice? I forget what year it is. I'm going to find out. 1912. So again, over 100 years old. And, oh, here's the one. Nancy, I was telling you, I had it. Nancy at Wishes and Weeds just made a beautiful version of Scottish Chiefs. And I was saying to her, I've got one. I've got a copy of that, and it's a different color. So I don't think I would do that justice. Again, that's one that I would probably have to rehome, because I don't think I have any kind of ephemera that would do it justice. So, and then there's more down below here on their sides, but they're nice and safe on their sides. So, And I really, really try my best to aim for 100 years old or older. Unless it's got just the coolest title, then I have to look at that. Isn't that cute? Bunny Brown and his sister Sue at Grandpa's farm. Of course, I love that because my maiden name is Brown, so I had to get that. Rebecca of Sunnybrook Farm here. And then I have, this isn't my Christmas books. So my Christmas books are, we're going to go down there. They're in that closet there. And I have some old Dickens Christmas books. I don't have a Christmas Carol, but I have several old versions of Dickens Christmas stories that contain a Christmas Carol, but I would love an old Christmas Carol, but I don't think I could cut it up. I think that's one of those ones that I'd have to keep. Hold on, let me stand up. And then way up here is where I keep all my Dick and Jane type books. These three are new. They're reprints, but the artwork is so beautiful that they're great for fussy cutting. But all these old ones, they're the real deal. They're 40s, 50s, and 60s. And then these are those old books that the lady at the book sale saved for me. So I got to figure out what I'm going to do with them. This book is beautiful. I'm not pulling it out one-handed because these will all fall on me if I pull this out one-handed. So hopefully that answers things better. Here's the Noodler's ink that I love. Love Noodler's ink. It's a permanent ink, so it will clog your pen. So don't fill it up too full, or else use your pen every day to keep it flowing, because unlike, this is my favorite regular ink that I love using is, and I can't pronounce it through the camera, but this one's my favorite one for just writing with. And I'm not one to switch around my colors. You can get some beautiful colors in inks nowadays, but I tend to stick with blacks, and also I don't mind sepia tone browns, but it's over there. I have a sepia tone brown. I had to get a Dr. PH whatchamacallit this time for that. I would have liked to get one of the other brands that I like, and of course my King Edward, which was full of making Two Nanas bookmarks. So hold on, we're going to go over to my desk. So it's time to get back to work here on the Practical Bookkeeper, and I have decided to finish gluing Beatrix, and I forget who he is. I'm going to glue them down flat because I didn't intend for them. They're not properly prepared to be a pocket. And so I'm trying to decide whether I'm going to collage and maybe put something behind them, or whether I should just leave them as is. But I thought the sewing turned out well, so that it looks continuous with, oh, here on this side, this sewing that I did around the edge for the front of the cover, that sewing. So it sort of looks like it must have been in place, goes up the corner there. It must have been in place when I sewed that. So that's a faux way of it's a little cheat. So I'm going to get to work and try and decide, listen to this book and see where it's going to take me with these photos that I want to put in. I'm feeling photos, and I'm feeling pockets, and never did have any success in finding out who this gentleman is, but I love his glasses, and I would so wear those glasses. Are they awesome? Ah, they're really cool. Anyhow, that's it today. I just thought I'd answer the questions about, you know, some of the books that were on the shelf there and what those books on the floor were for. They actually, it's the best place for them. I tried putting them on the shelves, and they were so heavy to pull on and put back that, and little did I know at the time that I was dealing with an immune disorder, an autoimmune disorder. So now it makes sense to me why it was tricky for me. But that just turned out to be the most convenient place and actually the best way to set them up, because I use them a lot. And I actually came up with a new idea because a lot of those books have huge color pages of artwork. And I came up with another idea the other day on what to do with the big ones. Because sometimes the big ones, they're just too big when you're putting it into a smaller journal and you just want to use part, or you can only use part of a painting. It can be challenging, but I came up with an idea for being able to use the full big ones, and fingers crossed I'm going to experiment before I actually do it with a camera going. So thanks for joining me today for I didn't start out with it, but I'll end it. Thanks for joining me for 30 minutes of my day. I've been enjoying reading about your favorite colors and the colors that you don't like. And if you haven't already commented on the previous video, feel free to comment down on this one what your favorite color is and what color you don't want it in your house. You don't want it it's not in your closet for your clothing. You just don't want that color around, and you avoid it at stores. Like with this, I love it. It's the combination that I love. It's the brick red. It's a warm yellow. I wish this was a little bit more mustardy, but it will still do because it's not neon yellow. It's a nice warm yellow. It's not like this, but that was from a thrift store, so you know, I'll use it because Post-it notes are handy, and I go through a lot of them. All right, time to get to work, and we are so close to being 30 minutes that I did very well today. So where'd I put my bell post? There we go. I'll put it there for now. I'm going to get to work on Harry and see what I can do to make his page turns more fun and more interesting and maybe a little bit more mysterious. So, what's your favorite color? Oh, I sound like Buddy the Elf. Take care. Have a great rest of your weekend if you're watching this on the weekend. We'll talk soon. Bye.